So shall we start? Last chapter we finished arrays in C. In case of array, I told you array is a collection of similar data types having same nature. It is a collection, right? So if you want to store marks of 5 subjects or marks of 5 subjects for 3 students, that everything we have seen using the single dimensional array and double dimensional array. We have stored percentage in float array. So in last chapter, we have declared an array of integers and array of floating point numbers, but we never declared array of characters. I don't know whether you observed it or not, but I never wrote a program which contains an array of characters. There is a specific reason for not taking that array of characters as a part of array. Only because array of character it's treated differently in any programming language. In C programming language, an array of character is called string. So how it can be defined first of all. So we will see how it can be defined, and I talked about very important concept of an array in the last chapter. If you can recall, that is a base address. I hope you have accessed the array chapter on Udemy because it contains animation of single dimensional array, how array can be passed to the function, how double dimensional array looks inside the memory, and what kind of pointers are created in case of double dimensional array as well as single dimensional array. I told you that in case of single dimensional array, internal pointer is created inside the memory by the compiler whose name is same as name of the array. So that's why we call it is a base address. Base address is address of the first element of an array, right? As far as second two-dimensional array is concerned or multi-dimensional array is concerned, two-dimensional array is array of single dimensional array. So inside the memory is given contiguous. Contiguous memory is allocated. For pictorial representation, we draw it as a matrix. Otherwise, it is a contiguous memory. Other concepts about array we discussed where array indexing always starts from the 0, right? And pair of square bracket is used for notation of an array. At the same time, we discuss about pointer arithmetic. So we went through valid operations on pointers as well as invalid operations on pointers. All these operations on pointers are useful when you access elements of an array in both directions, either in the reverse direction or in the forward direction. We also saw that you cannot access array element beyond its limit because that memory is not given to you. So you should not try to access element using invalid index. So whatever array memory for an array is given, that many elements you can access, you can store elements, you can manipulate, you can change, you can do everything within the limit of size of an array. So obviously the first element is having index as 0 and last element is having index as size of an array -1, right? So if array is of 10 elements, the element of the index of first element will be 0 and index of last element will be 9. So this was a quick review of arrays in C. When I mean by arrays in C, I mean by array of integers or array of floats or array of doubles. But I never meant an array of characters. So what are important concepts in this array of characters, that what we call it is the string. So what is the string? What is the string terminating character? How to take the input for the string? What are the format specifier for string or printing the string? String is name, array of characters, right? Pointers and strings. So pointers again will be there, since this is just a specialized of an array in the last chapter, right? It is a character array. That's it. So how to print the string, how to input the string from the keyboard, what are the various library functions available for manipulating the string. So string manipulation is one of the important part of this chapter, string, right? String manipulating functions. A lot of functions are there inside the library which you can use. And we are going to write our own functions which will mimic, which will work in the same fashion as that of library functions. That is the best way to learn strings in C, right? So that we are going to call it as a user defined function. So we will write our own functions which will work in the same fashion as library functions. And what is an array of strings, right? So it is a double dimensional again. So these many concepts we will learn in this chapter. One of the important chapter of this uh, C language curriculum. One of the important, you can say one of the most important. So how the picture of the string is. Suppose I want to store hello world, then each character will be given a single byte memory. So H will be in the first byte, E will be in the second byte, and so on. But note that at the end there is a one special character called /0. /0 is called as a string terminating character. Basically, this is a single character. It is not slash separate and zero as a separate character. So it doesn't mean these are two characters. It is a single character which is called as a null character or a string terminating character, right? So this /0 is very important. It is just like no, in while you read the sentence, you stop when you look at a full stop, right? So sentence in English language or Hindi language. Hindi language, some bar vertical bar is there. Marathi language. So that each sentence is terminated by a full stop. Similarly, in C, string is terminated by /0. So whenever /0 is encountered, accessing is stopped or string is finished. Obviously, the same rule of an array applies here. That is, index of first element will be 0 and index of last element will be array size minus 1. So that is going to be there, right? Then what are string input and output functions we are going to see. First we will finish the theoretical part, what is there, and directly we will start writing programs so that you can understand in a better way and better manner. So both printf and scanf are useful for taking the string input. At the same time, a few more functions are there like getS, that is a get string, and putS, that is the put string. %d is format specifier for printing integer. %f is for printing the floating point constant. %c for printing the character constant. %ld for printing long integer, right? %lf for for printing double constant or double value. In the same fashion, format specifier %s is used for printing or accessing the string, right? So printing to the monitor or taking input from the keyboard, %s is used as format specifier, right? So we will write the program. Still now we have tried to store integer, we have tried to store character, we had tried to store floating point constant, we had tried to store array of integers or multiple integers. We have stored multiple floating point values, but we have not stored yet multiple characters, right? So if I want to store, suppose your name, right? Anurag, right? If I want to store Anurag, so I have to declare an array of characters. So it will be a char array. Okay. So let's name of an array let's be name, right? And I will give the array size as suppose 10. Right? First of all, how to store name of an array, right? So suppose I initialize it, right? How I can initialize? How did we store initialize num array? We initialize like this: 4, 6, 8, 1, and 2. So in this manner, we initialize integer array, right? So in the same fashion, we have to initialize. So you cannot write like this. So we cannot initialize like this, right? Because since it is a character constant, we have to put it in a pair of single quote. So this way you can initialize an array, right? So suppose I want to print this, I will have to write for I equals 0, I less than or equal to 5, because 6 characters are there. So the index of last element would be 5, I plus plus, right? I have to write printf percent %c, right? I will have to write name of I, and here I will write printf session, right? So if I run this code, it will print the string, it will print the name, right? What happens here? For I equals 0, I less than, okay, I forgot that. So it will print Anurag, right? But handling string, because array of character in C is called string. So handling string in this way is very difficult, very tedious. These are just 6 characters. What if long statement is there, long sentence is there, or long paragraph is there? How we can handle that? It is very difficult because each time you have to count that number of characters in the string, and that is very tedious, right? So Dennis Ritchie has given you another way of handling that. So you can write like this, right? Because we know that string is terminated by /0. Okay, for time being, we have written like that. But at least here, what we can do is we can write the loop as. I hope you are noting down all these things. Otherwise, you watch this video again because you are going to forget everything, right? I will write like this. While name of I not equal to slash 0, right? Name of I, here you can write I plus plus. This way you can print that. At least in this, if we write program in this way, in this manner, then at least we don't need to, we have to initialize this to 0. At least we don't need to calculate number of characters in the string, right? At least, okay. So if we run this code, again you will get the same output, Anurag, right? This is much better than the earlier program. But this again is a problem. Why? There are two issues here. First issue is that you're you're printing the characters, I mean string character by character. So instead of saying Anurag, it is just like calling you Anurag each time. Anurag. Do we call any person like this? No, we call it as directly full name. So I will call Chiranjan. I will not call Chiranjan some kind of thing. Because I'm going to get confused. You are going to get confused, right? Whether you read, whether you pronounce particular character or not, whether that full name is terminated or not, because that is full confusion. So Dennis Ritchie has given solution for every problem. Okay, so let's see one by one. Here, instead of initializing the string in this manner, he has given the facility to initialize the string, and he said that write that string in a pair of double quotes. So this is the string, right? This is the string. So if I run this code now, okay, this is executed. But you would be surprised, where is that slash 0 here? You would be surprised. But the magic is that whenever you store a string, slash 0 is inserted by the compiler. So you are surprised to know that how this string is printed, even though name of I slash 0 doesn't appear here, right? Seemingly it is not there, but when I showed you that hello world string, okay, that it was terminated by slash 0. So inside the memory, when at this location name, right, at this location name, 10 bytes of memory is allocated. So in the first 6 byte, Anurag is stored. A, the capital A takes 1 byte, N takes 1 byte, U takes 1 byte, R takes 1 byte, A takes 1 byte, and G takes 6th byte. 7th byte is uh, occupied by the slash 0, and that slash 0 is inserted by the compiler automatically, right? So that is the power of string in C language, right? So since slash 0 is automatically stored, this same logic works over there, right? Same logic, because name of I. So when I is actually 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I is 6, name of I, name of 6 is slash 0. The loop is terminated, right? It is as simple as it is, right? But Denisici has not just given, um, rather, Denisici has given everything possible. So he thought printing string in this manner is also tedious, right? So what he has given, he has, don't need to go for this, don't need to go for this. He has given us format specifier for printing the string. So printf percent s format specifier for printing the string, and you just write here name. That's it. Right? And write here slash n. What will happen? Now the whole string will be printed. Anurag, that's it. Right? So percent %s is format specifier for printing the string. Hmm? What is important here is you are just writing name of an array, okay, which is name itself. What does it mean? You are sending the base address of an array. So what you are telling to the compiler is that go at this address, right? So that name must be having some address in the memory location, okay, in the memory. So suppose that address is 42582. So it will go at 42582, and from that memory address it will start accessing characters up to which, up to /0. So that is how it can print that string, right? Because that memory composed of zeros and ones, right? So how that printf statement will come to know where to stop? So it stops as soon as it comes across /0, right? So that is the format specifier for printing the string. Hmm? Same for taking the input from the user. Huh? So what we will do? I will remove this now. Hmm? And I will take the, okay, before that I will show also how pointer works, right? So suppose I declare a variable as int I, not int I is not required. I declare a variable as one character pointer, suppose ptr, right? If I write ptr is equal to name, what happens here? Ptr is a character pointer, okay, and name has been assigned to ptr. That means ptr will also point to a, right? Because we know name contains the base address. So name contains the address of this string. Address of this string is address of first byte. Address of first byte is address of A, right? So name contains the address of A. Name is pointer created, internal pointer created by the compiler, right? Which is called as constant pointer. Now that name you are assigning to PTR. As soon as you assign it to PTR, PTR will start pointing to A. Okay. So now we can write that loop. Okay. Just like we wrote the program using the array index and /0, we can write while star PTR, hmm, not equal to /0. What is to be done? Print that character. Percent C star PTR, right? And increment that pointer to PTR plus plus, right? At the end, I will print that flash. I told you this is one of the difficult chapter, okay? And that Udemy contents are going to help you a lot because the whole chapter has been explained using extensive animation, extensive, right? I mean, you won't be able to understand the string chapter anywhere from anywhere in the world. Okay, but you will understand from that uh, string chapter in on the Udemy framework. Okay, my course, right? So if I run this code now, it will print the Anurag, right? Now, how to take the input from the keyboard? So I will write printf enter name. I will write enter your name, right? I will not initialize this now. Enter your name. Write scanf percent s comma here since it is a string and the name itself contains the base address, you don't need to write and name, right? But you just need to write name because name itself contains an address. And to the scanf function, we always send address, right? So if I run this code, I'll print this percent s. You entered your name as percent s. I will call the name again. Note that string is the only data type wherein you send name of array for printf as well as scanf. For integer and float, in the case of scanf, you have to send the address ampersand operator you have to use along with name of the variable. But here you don't need to send ampersand, right? Because that name of a string itself contains the base address. So this is now you're taking input from the keyboard and printing it to this monitor. Okay. So enter your name. I will like Anurag and your entered name is Anurag. Right. I'll give here slash t. It's very important. Right. So enter your name as Anurag and you entered your name as Anurag. Right. Now suppose if I run this code, okay, it is size as suppose 20. I want to store your full name, suppose, right? I have to Anurag Sahu, right? It's a full name. But what happened? You entered your name as Anurag. So what is the problem here? The problem is that scanf is not capable of taking multi-word string. Right? So as soon as space comes, it stops. Okay, and that is only that much only is printed, right? Or rather, that much only is accepted. Okay, so for that, what you have to do is you have to give name as char f name, okay, and char uh, first name and tail name, right? So here enter your first name, right? Enter your last name or family name, right? Right? Tail name and f name, right? And you enter name as percentage f name and l name, right? You have to do like this. Nobody does like this because there is a way I will tell you. What is the problem here? Semicolon. Ceasefire. Anurag Sahu. You entered name as Anurag Sahu. Okay. But this is not the way program can be written, right? One cannot tell you enter this, that. Okay. So what is the remedy over this? Remedy over this is there is another function. Okay, let it be f name. Instead of first name, we will now term it as a full name, right? So enter your full name, right? I'll remove this. And instead of scanf, I will call the function as getS. Okay. So it gives the help getS char star. So what is getS? What does the argument? The getS function is taking char star. That is a character pointer. That is the base address, right? So send the name of an array in which you want to store that, right? You enter name as %s. That's it, right? So if I run this code now, if I enter Anurag Sahu, it will print enter your name. You entered your name as Anurag Sahu. So getS is exclusive function for taking the string input from the user, from the keyboard. It stands for get string, right? Get s, get string, right? The connected function along with getS is putS, right? So I can write as putS is there, right? That's it, right? Enter full name. Enter name. So put string and get string. Put s and get s. The only difference, one of the major difference between put s and that printf is that one difference is that put s is used for printing the string, right? But here slash is inserted automatically, right? In case of printf, you have to put that slash in. Here, if you observe, I run the code again. Okay, slash n is not written here, but you will find that cursor will go to the next line. It has gone to the next line, right? Cursor is taken to the next line. Put and getS are called unformatted functions. These are not formatted. So there is no format specifier. You cannot put slash t, this, that, nothing. Okay, these are unformatted functions. For this string as well, you cannot give width. Whereas in case of printf, if you use the printf, you can give the here I will comment this. I will write it putS, right? And just send the f name, right? PutS f name. So it will print that. Okay. So Anurag Sahu. Anurag Sahu. It is printed. But in the printf function, in this, you could give this message like this. You cannot give here. You cannot give here. That is a problem. Another is that puttes and gettes are unformatted functions, whereas printf is formatted function. So you can give the formatted output. Suppose I write 20 or 25s, right? See the output by puttes and printf. I write Anurag Sahu. So here, this is printed by the puttes and this is printed by the printf. So this much space was given for printing the string by using the bit specifier, okay, which is not possible to give in puts. That is the reason puts is called, and along with the gettes, it is called a unformatted functions. Okay. It is a pair. Usually it is used in pair, usually, okay, but it is not mandatory, right? So when you use the puts, use the gettes, or when you use the gettes, you use the puts. Hmm? But sometimes it may happen that you use the gettes and then printf, or you use the printf and use the scanf like that. Okay. I have heard that gettes function is nowadays not used. Okay. So alternate function I will tell you some other day. Okay. Because for that some additional information is required. But nowadays they suggest that don't use this. It works. It works on all compilers, right? But many compilers give you warning. This function is deprecated. They use the word deprecated. What is the meaning of deprecated? Deprecated is, you can say, obsolete. It is obsolete now. Okay. They have stopped using that function, but it doesn't mean they have removed that function from the library. It is still available in the library. They have just stopped using that. They advise you not to use it. Okay, but it works in the same fashion. Okay, fantastic. There is one problem along with gates. Okay, that, and why it was terminated, why they have stopped using that. I will show you. Right. Suppose if you gave name as the size and 10 and use the name of an array, or you use the full name as Anurag Sahu. Okay, so how many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 characters are there. One more is there required for slash 0, right? So if I enter now, okay, it prints, okay, but not guarantee. There is no guarantee. Okay, sometimes it may print something else. Right? Suppose I run the code. Suppose I enter my name, which is long enough. Okay? Okay? It prints. There is no guarantee because it doesn't give you guarantee. Why? Because when you try to store this much long length name, okay, the array is only of 10. Okay, so getters function doesn't prevent you from entering many characters, entering more data, right? Because there is no loop. So you may go on entering and entering and entering. Okay? This is just we are entering the storing the name. But what if here the message is enter some message, and if I enter suppose multiple line message, then what will happen? So it will be a problem for the memory and compiler, right? Because you are trying to store the data which in a memory which doesn't belong to you. So GetS is not advisable. Other functions are there, and I will tell you at appropriate time which alternate functions can instead of GetS. Till that moment, Go ahead along with putties and gettys. Putties, there is no problem. Okay, so go ahead along with putties and gettys. Okay, putties is used for printing the screen to the monitor. Gettys is used for getting the screen, accessing the screen, scanning the from the keyboard. Okay, so this is putties and gettys. Right now, there are. I will introduce about the library functions, and then we will go further using that library functions tomorrow. Okay, so there are many library functions which are useful to manipulate. So which are those? Finding length of a string, that is number of characters in a string, right? The function is strlen, right? Finding, uh, comparing two strings, right? The function is strcmp, right? Then copying one string to another string, it is strcpy. Then reversing the string, strrev. Then converting each letter of a string to lowercase. That is strlwr. Right? Converting each letter of a string to lowercase. That is strukr. Right? At least these many six functions we are going to write. Okay. How many are there? Six. Six, seven functions definitely we will see first how library functions work. We will see, and then we will write our own functions which will behave in the same fashion as library functions. That is a major and one of the important, uh, what you can say, experiment, assignment, okay, of this chapter. Not only this chapter, but the whole C syllabus. Because there you are going to use all concepts which you have learned so far, right from the first chapter. Everything you are going to use when you are going to write these functions. Okay, and these are just six functions. There are many functions which you can write, which we can write on our own. Right? It is like, what you can say, finding number of p's, the letter p's, number of p's in a particular statement or a particular paragraph. Okay, you can do that, right? Particularly in particular sentence. So that kind of, I mean, numerous assignments are there. So we will stop here. It is